All right, I'm out for a little lunchtime walk. I don't know if anybody's gonna join me here, but figured I'd go live for a little bit, kind of let everybody know what's going on. I came out here yesterday, kind of scouting some stuff and took some footage for a video you'll probably see next week. Found some wild blueberries out here. You might hear some traffic and construction in the background. This is just one of those. This is just one of those walking tracks that's close to. Walking trails that's close to my work, so I can hit this on the lunch break, which is really nice. It's a nice perk. But it is springtime here in South Carolina. Like, we are full blown in spring now. We could still get some frosts here on the coast, but it's not likely. And hey, thank you for joining. It's so good to see. I didn't know if anybody was going to pop in. Thank you. So being that it's springtime here in South Carolina, do have to start paying attention for the copperheads are going to start popping out here, which means I'm not going to be able to venture as far out into the woods as I had been, at least without being kind of careful about it, and have to watch I'm on a trail right now, and even being on the trail, I got to kind of watch my footing. It's much worse in the fall when they come out. I don't know if they're mating in the fall or whatever, but we've definitely spotted some out here before. In fact, I'm going to probably change the thumbnail to show one of those copperheads later on. But how's everybody doing out there today? Hey, Gail, Southern Living, so good to see you. Hope you're enjoying your lunch break. So yeah, I was out here yesterday just kind of scouting around. I filmed a little bit of footage. I found some wild blueberries. Got some dewberries, which are basically, wild blackberries popping up out of the ground. And couple other things. We have black medic growing like crazy out here. I found some false hawksbeard. Nice little location. I really like this spot. Even though there is, you'll hear traffic and stuff in the background, it is kind of like a nice little getaway for lunchtime. And I got other places that I go to, but this one I can walk right down to from my work. So we may pass some other people out here. I know there's other people out here walking on their lunch break. I actually just passed one of my coworkers. I got a video coming tonight on spending your stimulus check. So if you're out there and you're watching this, have you spent your stimulus check already? And do you mind sharing? Hey, Aussie Cobber, how are you doing? If you guys have spent if you're in the United States and you have gotten a stimulus check and you've spent it, how have you spent it? I'll tell you what we're doing with ours. We are desperately overdue for a water heater replacement. It's not failing, but it's like several years past when you typically will get out of a water heater. So we did the debate of, do we want a tankless water heater or a regular tank water heater? We decided to go with a tank water heater. So that's what part of our money is going to be going towards. We definitely have some home things that we need to take care of. But we got a really good deal. Real estate in Charleston is super expensive, y'all. And we got a good deal on our property because probably about $50,000 less than what other houses in the neighborhood go for. But that was because it needed a lot of upgrades. And so we were like, well, it's definitely livable, and we'll do those upgrades as we go. So we've been picking away at it. One of the big things you sometimes hear me talk about in the videos is that there was some diseased trees on the property, so I had to take those down, and that's pretty much done. I do have one in the back, but there's some regulations about it. Here in South Carolina, they have some regulations about the oak trees. After Hurricane Hugo, we lost so many of our big oak trees that they actually put, they were like endangered, not really, but they put protections on it, so it's not easy to take down an oak tree now. You have to get permits and stuff. And I have one that's close to the house. It's withstood several hurricanes, so it's probably okay, but it's shaped in a weird way. It just makes me nervous. And you guys know Sarge is a tree lover, so I hate taking down any trees anyways. But it's close to the house, and we do get a lot of hurricanes, so I have to weigh the pros and cons of that. And I always plant new trees anyways. Like, if you take down a tree, I do believe in sustainability. So I plant a new tree if I take one down, I got a peach tree and a fig tree that I have to plant. Bought those recently. See if I can do a video on those. I'm always trying to increase my sustainability on the property. I was trying to increase your food self-sufficiency. So let's see, if I can find that blueberry plant again, I'll show it to you. I think I'm getting close to it. So you're always trying to, things like asparagus will produce year after year. Hey, Anna T, so good to see you. How is the weather in Italy right now? We're always trying to increase our sustainability, increase our food self-sufficiency, and you could do that with by planting berries, asparagus, fruit trees, things like that. Things that are going to produce year after year after year, in addition to your perennial garden. So in your perennial garden, that's where typically people will grow like their tomatoes and peppers and eggplants. Now, if you live in a... Hey, Cheshire Keith, so good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. So if you live in the southern hemisphere, peppers are actually I'm sorry, I said perennials, I meant annuals. Peppers are actually a perennial, and they can produce year after year. And actually, here in Charleston, if we have a mild winter, I don't pull my pepper plants up. Sometimes they will live through the winter and produce again the next year. So depending on what your climate is like, you may be able to do that. Tomatoes, in theory, can do that as well. I've never had that happen here in Charleston. All right, what do we got up here? Is this? All right, we got some wild dewberry over here. I don't know if I can flip the camera, hang on. Hey, TJ Preps, hey, Miss Southern Belle, good to see you both. All right, I'm gonna show you here. Hey, Relaxing Zone. All right, I've got a little wild dewberry here. I'm gonna see if I can flip the camera. I've never done this before. Let's see, okay, there we go. So hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. See those white flowers there? This here, it's very, very thorny. That's dewberry, which is a very close cousin to blackberry. And actually what happened, I believe, is that they took these kind of plants and they domesticated them to create blackberry. So what will happen now with these flowering, pollinators will hit this, of course, and you'll start to get some berries developing, and then they'll be smaller than a typical blackberry because these are wild. But, just one of those things to look for this time of year. You had a lovely snake. It ate your rats? You had a pet snake? Well, I don't know what to say to that. I was going to talk to you about snakes today, so let's do that. Let's go back there. So let me back out of this spot here. I'll flip the camera again in a second. Hang on. All right. So part of my live stream series is going to be true stories of survival. And some of them are mine. Some of them I hope to have some guests on. But one time, true story, I had a copperhead in the house. Another time we had one get into the work. That wasn't here, that was in Kentucky. Actually, both of those took place in Kentucky. So I'll tell you what happened with the house one today. I don't like copperheads, I really don't. So what happened was, at the time, so this is going back to I think 2010, my wife and I were dating at the time. We were not engaged. Sometimes snakes do that, yeah, unfortunately. Sometimes there's two-legged snakes, right, Anna? I've met a few of those in my life, and I'm not a fan. Try to stay away from those two-legged snakes. I had rat problems, and the snake eats them. Yeah. Oh, the black snakes are really good for getting rid of pests and rodents. You're right. We definitely have seen plenty of those too. Hey, Gazelle Eyes. So, at the time, I was dating my wife. We were not married or engaged, and she had an apartment in the same city, but it was a couple miles away. Well, no, it was probably 12 miles away. I'm going to show you another plant here in a second. I'm coming up on another one. So I started staying with her. Full disclosure, I was sinning. I started staying with my wife at her apartment a lot, and a lot became a lot. And then I was pretty much living in her apartment with her and the house, which was a farm, was not being tended, right? So I pretty much had powered down everything and, turned off the water there and everything like that. So the house was basically abandoned for 3 weeks. And I was going and checking on it every few days, but I did mention to you that it was pretty far out there in the country. So I kind of stopped going out there to check on it. And what will happen is if you leave a property abandoned, one of two things will happen. Either people will go in Those are maybe the two-legged snakes, or animals would go in. So we went home, or we went to the farmhouse to check on it. It was not our mutual home yet. And we immediately when we go in, we smelled something, right? And it's like, you ever smell copperhead? It's like a musky smell. Snake away works, and mothballs. Yeah, so we did end up throwing some mothballs around the property. I've heard mixed things about it, if it works or not, I don't know, but we did do that as a precaution. So we immediately smelled something. It's like a musky smell, and also smells a little bit like death, right? So it might have been something that the snake had eaten, or who knows. Thank you so much for joining. Bonjour, bonjour. So we start looking around. I'm like, yeah, there's something in the house. I know it. Can't find it. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend starts shrieking, and she runs out of the house, and she's out on the front, on our yard, crying, and I'm like, what is it? And she's like, hey, Coin Hound, thanks for joining. And I said, what is it? What's going on? And she's like hysterical, like she can't talk, and I'm like, you have to tell me what it is, and obviously I know you saw something. So she said, in the laundry room is the biggest snake I've ever seen. And I'm like, all right, just stay out here. I'm gonna go take a look. And I'm thinking it's a black snake, right? Which are not venomous. They can be scary. They're big. They're really big. And so I go in, and I'm like, I'm looking around. I don't see it. So I have to go back out, and I'm like, are you sure you saw it? Were your eyes fooling you? Did you, did you think you saw it and whatever? She says, no, there's a snake in there, and it's caught between the air intake and the vents. And it's like, so we basically, what I had was a heat pump system in Kentucky. So the heat came in from under the house, and a snake had crawled up through there and was just kind of halfway between there and like our internal ducts. Okay, so you could see half of his body, and it's a copperhead. Like, I know the pattern, it's a copperhead. So I'm like, oh gosh, this is not what I wanted to deal with today. So my thoughts on this were, I need backup on this. Like, if you're gonna handle a 4-foot copperhead, you want some backup. So I had a friend down the street, country boy, and I knew, like, this is a person I can go to for help. And we kind of, it was one of those situations, you got your mutual support people. If he needed backup, I got his back, and I needed his backup today. So I went down there and I said, dude, brother, I got a copperhead. I need your help. And he's like, oh, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I can't do this by myself. This is going to take 4 hands to do this. So he grabs his gloves, he grabs a pair of pliers, and he says, all right, let's go. So we go back, and we've, it's still there, hasn't moved. I guess the cool air coming in was probably like a nice place for it to rest. So he goes up to it with the pliers and like pokes it, because he said, we got to figure out where the head is, because when it starts moving, it's going to be fast, and it's going to move in the direction of the head, right? So you have to know where that is so you can grab it. What you got to do is you got to pinch it behind the neck so that it can't bite. So he says, we got to find where the head is. So he pokes it with the pliers, and I'm not kidding you. It goes like this. It goes like come on, bro, don't mess with me. So he's like, I can't tell where the head is. So he pokes it again, and it does it again. It's like, so we're like, oh crap, what do we got to do? So he's like, all right, I got to do it. We got to figure out where the head is. So he pokes it again, and finally it starts moving. So he grabs it. We start pulling it out, and this thing's huge. And he gets behind the head with the pliers, and we got it outside, and he's like, you want to let it go? And I'm like, this is the part where if you're an animal lover, you might want to stop watching. He says, you want to let it go? And I'm like, dude, it's a copperhead. It knows how to get in the house. It knows that's a nice, cool spot. There's no way we're letting that thing go. So we did what we had to do. We'll just leave it at that. But that is, one of my encounters with copperhead. I know I had another one that was a close call too. I hate them. I really do. I know they're God's creatures, and I know they serve a purpose, but man, I do not like messing with them copperheads. All right, I got a plant here I want to show you. I'm going to flip the camera. This here is, see this pretty little yellow flower? This is Carolina jasmine, I believe. It is toxic. It is pretty though. And I'm showing you this one is you know, this is one that like you wouldn't want your kids or your pets even eating this. It is our state flower though. It is pretty and it is blooming like crazy right now. Yeah, thank you, Anna. I'm glad it didn't bite either of us. All right, we're gonna go back this way because there's people up the trail. I'm trying not to catch on the. How do I deal with snakes at my work? Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that one, Silver Sea Captain. Keep your head low and try not to get into drama, right? Watch out for those two-legged snakes, man. Just try to stay away from the drama as best you can. Hey, Silver International, it's good to see you. So what do I got coming up this week? I got the video coming tonight about how to spend. Did you spend your stimulus check? What are some good things a prepper might want to spend it on? Friday, I got a video coming about blueberries and like springtime care for your blueberries. And then, I know there's several of you from the silver community here. I have a question. I'm trying to get my hands on one of those copper rounds with the Bitcoin symbol on it. I need that for a prop for a video, but I can't find them anywhere in stock. So if any of you have those and you want to do a little trade, I'll send you some Roosevelt dimes. Yeah, and it may be my fault because I'm out in the woods here. The stream might be slow. I apologize, Gazelle Eyes. If any of you have that Bitcoin copper round and you're willing to trade me a few, would love to hear tips from you. Yeah, it's gonna be a cool video. Check that out. I'll send you some Roosevelt dimes in exchange, or if you'd rather me PayPal you some money, I can do that. But I need a couple of those and I can't find them anywhere. So if any of y'all have those and you wanna share them, that would be cool. I do too. Blueberries are my favorite fruit actually. And I've been growing them a long time. I've grew them in Massachusetts when I lived up there. I grew them in Kentucky, which was really tricky because the soil there is very, very alkaline, and they like acidic soil, and grew them, and I've been growing them here. And this year, it looks like if we don't get another frost, I'm gonna get a good crop. There's a lot of flowers on them. So I didn't find that blueberry plant again. I know it is out here, but you know, as I was talking, it's kind of hard to watch the plants too. But you'll see that in the video next week. I actually found a couple of them. Here, let me flip the camera again. This is the false hawksbeard. Hang on one second. So that's false hawksbeard. This is growing like crazy in South Carolina right now. That is an edible, and it's also a medicinal plant. I love this plant. And if you're thinking, yeah, it looks like a dandelion on clay soil, I manage the ground in a cool way. Yeah, what do you do? Do you add acidifier, Silver International? So if you're thinking this looks like the dandelion, it does, yeah, because I think it's a relative of the dandelion, okay? And look, there's a ton more of the dewberry here, okay? This is a cool little spot I got out here, y'all. All right, so I'm probably gonna have to get back to work here in a few minutes. What do you all, before we go, I always adore your knowledge on plants. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Oh, here, we got another cool one here. Are these violets? I think these are violets. And flowers and leaves are edible. All right. Yeah, grapes. So we have, Miss Southern Belle, you probably have these where you are too. We have wild muscadine grapes that grow here. And the vines should be starting to pop up around here. I keep looking. I never catch them. I hauled a lot of compost from nearby recycling for free. Lots to mix that with the turf. Good idea. Good idea. Yeah, if you can get free compost, that's like, you know, black gold. It's good stuff. So the muscadine grapes. That's your shirt. Yeah. I've never gotten lucky and caught the wild grapes. The animals always get to them before I do. I just, you know, I try, but I think the deer and the birds are getting them before I do. So before I wrap up here, because I'm going to have to get back to work, what videos you got coming out this week? Do you want to give me a preview? Does anybody want to give a little plug for your channel? You guys know I love to support the other channels. So Tell everybody what you got coming out this week. And I'll just talk as we walk here, and you guys can plug your stuff. I have a couple things that are in the queue that I'm just having a hard time getting to the editing on them, and I really had a struggle this week with iMovie was giving me a big fight. There's an error that goes sometimes with iMovie where it thinks that your device doesn't have enough storage, even if it does. I don't know if you all have ever had that. And it was giving me an all-day fight on Sunday. So the amount of editing that I needed to do versus the amount of editing that I actually got done was really pitiful. So I have a couple of videos that are supposed to be coming out. One is where I reviewed that CRKT video, the CRKT CEO. The silver buffalo round, nice. And the silver Ducats. I love those Ducats. Those are awesome. YouTube will let me upload. Yeah, I hear that, TJ. Yeah. Yeah. It's there's been a lot of I don't even want to get into that because I'm not monetized yet, but there seems to be like a lot of shadow suppression and things like that goes on with the prepping community where they just won't promote certain videos, and it really stinks. Thank you so much, Silver Sea Captain. And the lion bars are gorgeous. Yep, absolutely they are. Hey, Evans Family Homestead, thanks for coming in. All right, I'm gonna have to hop out of the path here in a minute. The Alamo round, I haven't seen that. Oh, cool, I'll have to look for that one. I thank you so much, everybody, for popping in today. I'm gonna be doing more of these little lunchtime chats, so I hope you enjoy it. I hope the motion sickness isn't too bad. I'm sorry, TJ. Radio, yep. Yeah, everybody check out each other's channels, please. Give each other some support. We have a great community. I know sometimes that we all can disagree on certain things, but it really is, you know, the prepping community and the coin community. I wish we would do a little bit less arguing with each other, a little bit more support for each other. And please go ahead and check out everybody's channels. Thank you so much. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. I'll see you tonight. This is Prepping with